Hey everybody, it's me, Rick Acosta, the Dodger Card Collector, coming to you with another video. Today is Thursday, June 22nd, first full day of summer. The weather's pretty nice out here in California. I just came home from the Long Beach Card Show, or as it's appropriately known, I think the Long Beach Coin Exposition, something along those lines. We'll talk about that in a second. Uh, what's going on? Getting ready for the NBA draft tonight. Let's see. We know who San Antonio is going to take with the first pick. I see Boston made a big trade last night. I think Chris Paul was just traded from Washington to Golden State for Jordan Poole. And then earlier this week, Chris Paul was traded from Phoenix to Washington. So for Bradley Beal, big NBA news. So it's a big night tonight for the NBA. NHL, they're getting ready for their first round or their draft, which I think is next week. Major League Baseball, Cincinnati Reds have won 10 in a row, or 11 in a row. San Francisco Giants have won 10 in a row. Mets, Padres, and Dodgers all looking awful. Oh, how times have changed. And we're getting ready for football season. I think training camp's literally right around the corner. So we'll see what's happening there. Hobby wise, I'm hoping my next show, if not my next show, it'll be the show after. I have been getting really, for lack of a better term, lucky. I've been winning several eBay auctions and auctions from other auction houses. So I'm waiting for all my cards to arrive before I show them off to you. Um, but today, as I mentioned, I'm just going to call it the Long Beach Card Show. It's just easier to explain it to you that way. And if you happen to be local to the area and if you're thinking of heading out there, I just wanted to give you some tips or some advice if you're heading out there or if you've never been out there. It's a pretty good show. It's really a coin show, and it's in a big auditorium. And in the back corner, I would say they take up maybe a third or 25% of the room are the baseball cards. For an LA card show, decent vintage, I would say there are several good tables of vintage, and which is nice to see because you don't see that literally unless you're dealing with something like the Burbank Card Show. I always say this: a lot of the card shows out here are very focused on modern basketball and modern football, and I usually last all of 5 minutes in a show, but I lasted a few hours today. Admission is $10. If you are a PSA member, it's free. And I was a PSA member once, and I'm still able to use my credentials on the website to get free ticket. Otherwise, it's $10. $10 for all 3 days. The show is Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. No Sunday. I've always been told by the seller Bob from the ninth inning, Thursday's the best day. He told me that years ago, and so I take the day off on Thursdays, and I go out there. So I said admission is free if you're a PSA member, $10 general admission. I don't know how much parking is. I usually park in a parking lot. City of Long Beach has free parking about 3 blocks away near the Promenade and 3rd Street. You could park there for free for 2 hours. And if you stick around a little while longer, I think it's like $4. I paid $4 today because I stuck around and had lunch. The show, for me at least, isn't the show that I spend all day at. I definitely spend 2, maybe 3 hours there. I do a few walkarounds. Sometimes I see friends there. Sometimes I get to meet some of the sellers. Um, but as I mentioned, today was really good vintage wise. I saw quite a bit of Cracker Jack cards, 1915 Cracker Jack cards. I missed the Joe Jackson card. I heard it was there and had been sold. Saw a lot of those. Still seeing a lot of graded cards. Prices are coming down. There's still a buddy of mine asked me if I bought any slabs, any graded cards, and I said no. While the prices have come down, I'm on a budget right now, so still a little too much for me at least at this point to buy some of these graded cards. But saw a lot of vintage stuff, 1948 to 1980. I'll be honest, I don't see much modern, and the reason I don't see much modern is because if I do see modern, I walk straight past it. Between that and the Pokemon tables, I tend to not notice them, so I can't even tell you. I saw some Shohei Ohtani cards, obviously, that were graded and they looked really nice, but a lot of good vintage stuff. Some raw cards. I picked up a lot of raw, a lot of ungraded cards that I'll show off to you in a moment. And like I said, saw some Cracker Jacks, saw the typical, a lot of Manos, a lot of Mays. I was seeing a lot. There was one particular table in particular had a lot of nice 1950s rookies cards, Tops and Bowman, ungraded and in excellent condition. So, and then I saw a lot. The same table had lots of commons, and that's where I had my luck. But it's a good show to check out. PSA is there right now, by the way. They're accepting. They're accepting whatever you want to call it. They're accepting cards right now, and I know that REA was there. REA was there, and REA was there. You know, if you're interested in selling your cards, so it's a good show. It happens 3 times a year in February, late June, and the last one of the year is like late August, or late September. Actually, take that back. But it's a really good show. Happens 3 times a year, and if you're in the area, I definitely would recommend coming down. I've walked away with good free stuff out of there a couple of times. PSA was there once. They gave me a Cracker Jack book and some slab holders. So definitely some good stuff out there. So hobby wise, that's what's going on. As I said, I've gotten pretty lucky on some cards that I'm going to show you. If not next week, the week after. I debated coming on today just because I had nothing to talk about. But when I went to the show, I decided, let me show off what I've got. It's I wouldn't say anything exciting, but the prices were fun, and I'm actually putting them under the light here in a moment. It'll be really the first time I'm looking at them, just because I bought them in such a hurry. I'm one of those people, and I don't know if you're like this, when all of a sudden someone says to you, and I'm exaggerating here, but if somebody says to you, all those cards in that box are $1, and all it is is vintage, all of a sudden I think I have to take all the cards as quickly as possible before somebody else comes in and takes the box away from me, and that's kind of something that happened today. So it's fun. You hear this all the time. It is fun to go to a card show. It is fun to buy cards at a card show. I'm thankful today that I chose not to spend $900 on a 1957 Topps Brooks Robinson, because I spent half that money several months ago for the same card. I was also thankful I did not buy the 1950 Walter Johnson Cracker Jack card, or the 1954 Topps Al Kaline card. He wanted $800 for it. I was like, wow. But anyway, good stuff. So let me turn the camera around and I'll show you what I picked up. Okay, are we on? Yeah, we are on. Just an FYI also, as I was talking about the Long Beach Card Show, I'm not one of those that takes video during a show, just because, once you've seen one card show, it seems like you've seen them all, and the glare is always awful, and so I go, I'm not gonna take any video. If I think I have some photos, I'll take a look after I talk to you guys here to see if they're worth showing, and if they are worth showing, I'll gladly throw them on at the end of the video. So let's see. Let's start here with my pickups. I'm going to do a mail pickup really quick, just because I want to be able to sort this card. And this is a 1961 Topps Joe Morgan card. Not that Joe Morgan, but this Joe Morgan ended up becoming the manager of the Red Sox. I bought this card purely by accident. I am contemplating you guys know that I've been working on the 1961 Topps All-Star subset, and all those cards are high numbers. And I'm contemplating now just working on the entire high number set. Here's the thing I don't understand. If there's a 1961 Topps set builder out there, please chime in. I'm noticing Series 7, which is the last series, is numbered from 507 to 587. I totally get that Warren Spahn is an error, and it's really card number 589. There are no card numbers from 587 and 588. But when I've looked up what's the definition of the 1961 Topps high numbers, websites like Cardboard Connection, PSA, even Dean's Cards, they all say the high numbers are from 523 to 589. And I'm like, well, what about the rest of Series 7? Card numbers 507 to 522. What are they considered? Because it's still the final set. Aren't they high numbers? I don't know. If you happen to know, just let me know. But that's Joe Morgan, card number 511. Okay, the rest of these cards, they're all from the same year. And believe it or not, every card I'm going to show you, I paid $2 for. $2. So let's, like I said, I'm going to go through these. I don't even know some of these guys, but I bought them purely based on looks. There's Bill McDonald from the Pirates. Bob Swift of the Detroit Tigers. And some of these guys I bought just because I knew their name. A lot of them I just bought because they didn't look like they were beat up, and he only wanted $2 a pop for them. What's next? Charlie Maxwell. Charlie Maxwell of the Boston Red Sox. And no, I am not working on a 1952 set, but I am one of those, as I show you, Clarence Marshall of the St. Louis Browns. If I'm not working on a set, I'm talking only the vintage stuff here, from 1951 to 1969. If I'm not working on a set, I like to try to have 15 to 20% of the set. And I've been meaning to do that with 1952, and I finally found someone today who was selling a bunch of 52s for $2 a piece, Eddie Kazak. So I thought I would, I think I bought 20 or 21 1952 cards. There's Eddie Kazak of the Cardinals. Now here's a name I know, Del Crandall. I know him as the Milwaukee Brewers manager just because I remember his 1973 baseball card. But he was a catcher for the Milwaukee Braves. But here he is with the Boston Braves. Let's see who's next. Walt Masterson. See, some of these cards, they all have little dings. They're not perfect. If they were perfect, they wouldn't be selling for $2. And I just thought this would be a good way to pick up some of these cards cheap. Frank Hiller of the Cubs. No, I'm sorry, the Reds. Take that back. Cincinnati Reds. Frank Hiller. Here's Joe Muir of the Pirates. Joe Muir. What do the backs have here? The backs have some stats. Nice little biography. The line that says these are reprints. No, kidding. Ken Wood of the Red Sox. Ken Wood. Joe Haynes of the Senators. Joe Haynes. Okay, now here's a guy I recognize. Dizzy Trout, Detroit Tigers. None of these are high numbers, by the way. I'm showing, I did put these in numerical order before. I showed them to you guys. These are roughly all first and second series cards. Wes Westrum. I remember him as manager of the Mets in 1965 and 66, right before Gil Hodges. I think he managed the Giants in the 70s as well. That's Wes Westrum. Here's a guy I know, the Chief, Allie Reynolds. Look at that, off, totally miscut, but there's Allie Reynolds. That's my second Allie Reynolds card. I have a 53 tops as well. Let's see. Touki Gilbert. Touki Gilbert. One thing I'm noticing, let me go backwards here for a second. Oh no, here we go. Yeah, we got black backs and red backs. So I'm sure the master set of this is a fun one to work on. I couldn't imagine, I know, I believe James Elite Hunters is working on is building a 52 set. I couldn't imagine working on the high numbers on this set just because I don't even have the Dodger high numbers. Those are the only tops cards I don't have, are all the high number cards. They're just so bloody expensive. There's Touki Gilbert. This card I bought, even though it's kind of clipped here, I had to buy this card because I saw it discussed on somebody's YouTube channel. I have a feeling this is a famous card. The 6 baseballs on the bat. Gus Zernial. And like I said, I wanted to buy 20 cards. I needed 1 or 2 more. And then I said, look at, I go, but it's cut here. But then I go, oh, wait a minute. This is the card with the baseballs on the bat. So I bought it. Again, what the hell? It's $2. Let's see. Dale Coogan. Someone's going to have to correct me on this one. Harry Lowry. Does he go by Peanuts Lowry? I think. I could be wrong. Does that say Peanuts? I think it does. So that's Harry Peanuts Lowry. The back says Harry Lee Lowry. This one's got some good wrinkles in it. Some good creases. Dick Sisler. I've heard of him. I have heard of Dick Sisler of the Reds. I see this though, and I keep thinking he's on the Cubs, but the Reds, I guess, had blue colors back then. Here's a familiar face for me. Bill Rigney. I knew him as the Giants manager. He was the first Los Angeles Angels manager back in the early 60s. So that's Bill Rigney. And then my last card from the 1952 set is Jackie Jensen, or Jack Jensen. This was before he got traded. I need a Yankee fan to tell me why he was traded. I know he later became an MVP with the Red Sox, I think in 58. But he was once property of the New York Yankees. Probably didn't have enough room for him, so they just traded him, because I think he ended up on Washington by the 1953 set he was on. Yeah, by the 1953 set, he was on Washington. But here he is on the New York Yankees. So those are the last of the 52 cards, and I picked up a handful of 54s. Same price. He sold me 8 for $15, so a little less than $2. But picked up some good vintage guys here. Dick Groat. I think in the case of the 54s, I think I know most of these guys. But these aren't as in good condition as the 52s are. But still, it's always fun to buy some cards that you weren't planning on. Mel Parnell of the Red Sox. There's Mel Parnell. This is a good-looking set. If I ever bought the Aaron, I would consider starting a set. But that Hank Aaron card's really gotten out of control price-wise. Let's see, who's next? Johnny Logan? Yeah, Johnny Logan, shortstop for the Braves. Got a little clip there. But other than that, good-looking card. I like this card only because of the color, and I think I have a Schoolboy Road card hiding out there in another set somewhere. I don't know why, I just really like this card. The white background kind of reminds me of... the white background kind of reminds me when TJ Maxx, with Terry, showing his hockey cards, his vintage hockey. A lot of those cards have white backgrounds. It just looks really nice. And I kind of liked it on this set. So here's Schoolboy Row. Well, there's a nice crease going right through there. Oh, that's too funny. Dick Schofield. I remember as a kid played for the Angels. But there's Dick Schofield. Let's see. Dave Jolly. Here's another one with the white background. I bought a few white backgrounds today just because I thought they were different. But there's Dave Jolly, the pitcher for the Braves. Let's see, 2 more. Wally Moon. A lot of creases. Only reason I bought this card is because he's a future Dodger. But this is Wally Moon when he was still a member of the St. Louis Cardinals. And my last card is Dave Philly, an outfielder for the Indians. So as I mentioned, I picked up all these cards roughly for $2 a piece. So they will go into my commons section, but still, I won't ever be working on a 52 or set. So these will just go into my collection. As I said, I like to have representation in my collection. So I try to have anywhere between 10 to 20%. If I'm not working on a set, I try to have 10 to 20% of all the cards from 1951 to 1969. And that's just saying because from 1970 to 1984, I have all the sets. And you guys already know I have the 1956, the 1965, the 1957, and 1953 sets. So those are my pickups today from the Long Beach Card Show. If you stuck around this long, thanks so much for joining in. And we'll talk to you next time. Take care.